Okie dokie. I think we're ready to start. Yes, we are. All right. The countdown from Grace was a little confusing. Hello, everyone. We're here. We're here to do Genopanic. We have broken hyperlink here. I'm going to turn it over to her and let you take it away.
Thank you. Yes, so this is Genopanic, a game that came out earlier this year. That myself and my co-commentator here, Vipo, were actually the runners of for the longest time, until very, very recently. But we'll get all into that.
Real quick, I just wanted to say we did hit the incentive to do save all GMOs.
We did? Okay. No, let me change my life splits then so I can keep track of the time.
I just remembered to mention that. We hit that last night.
Perfect, okay.
That means you guys get more of a show than you bargained for.
You do. You do. I mean, if you say that there's a Metroidvania that has basically save animals, people are going to want to save the animals. Much to my speedrunner tendencies of wanting to kill them.
It's the GMOs, aren't they? The creatures.
Yeah. They're the animals of this game.
Yeah.
But Viper, do you want to count me down?
I can do.
Yep. Get in.
Yeah, I guess we'll get into it. Okay. Here goes nothing, I guess. Count down from 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, here we go. So as I said, this was a game that came out about... When was it? About March? April? Maybe May? Can't remember specifically.
I got my hands on it back in April, May sort of time. And it was through Keymailer, which is a website for indie developers and things like that. And the folks at MobiRate were kind enough to send me a copy of the game. I played it through, quite enjoyed my time with it. And basically the way that me and Linky got round to this game was a case of I quite enjoyed it, played it through, did a speedrun just for a bit of a laugh, just to see how long it would take. And I ended up realising, wait a minute, there's 2 endings to this game, and there's 2 things of this, and you can do this, and you can do that. So we had the idea of the categories, but to kind of help out with a bit of the story, the bit of the context here. So your character's not given a name. However, the main idea is you're put on this spaceport, as you can see, Karatau, I think it's called. It's an astroport to be exact, and we get put on it because we've heard there's been a signal sent to us in the mention of, basically it's like a distress signal. Gee, you had to start with Metroidvania style, didn't you? You had to start with that. So there's a signal there. We go and go to the space station, and then obviously find out what the mysteries are, what's actually embedded in this. So first thing off the bat, you'll notice that Link is doing a puzzle of some kind. So these puzzles do pop up here and there, and they are basically you've got to like trace them with your controller. Now, obviously, you can do this with your keyboard. If you want to play on keyboard and mouse, you can do it that way. If you're doing it on a controller, there is something to mention. So if you play with, if you do it with a D-pad, and if you do things diagonally, so say for example you want to do left and up, if you were to hold like diagonal left, it would go slower to go left than go up, whereas if you just hold left and then you get to the end then go up, it's faster to do it that way. It seems to be faster doing it on analog as well. But yeah, so like I said, the game, as Linky pointed out, this game came out only a couple of months ago, so the game's not that old. And it had a few changes done to it. It's had 1 or 2 room changes as well, which we can get into in due course. But like I said, you mainly start on a space station, and there are abilities, there are weapons that you collect during this as well. So normally in the any percent, we miss a weapon in particular, which we collect on the All GMOs run. And because it's an All GMOs, it means you do get that weapon. But we'll get to that in due course. So just like in typical Metroid fashion, the power disappears. Oh no, whatever will we do? And now we're in the dark. So the way that the game is portrayed is, like I said, it is a horror adventure sort of game. It's a sci-fi sort of game. There are these puzzles such as that. Also, it's quite funny to say, I didn't know you had engineering talent. I did.
She's got a degree.
There's a few funny moments in here. So the main enemies in this game look like something out of Among Us, and I wish I was kidding, but they really do look like the main characters out of... I say the main character, it's characters in Among Us, I think, but they all look like that. But there's a various amount of enemies in here as well, depending on the area. So whilst we're going through here, we'll pass through an oven-like sector, a fire sector, we'll pass through a water section, an ice section, an environmental section, and I think like a tropical sort of section. Now the main gist of the story is that we've got to collect these GMOs, but normally in the 90% you would skip all of these. The main gist of the actual story itself is a case of, like I said, you put on the space station. We've got told that we need to inspect the facility and to find out what's going on, because apparently there's something by the name of black liquid that is been told is something's creating a nuisance, basically. And as we get told in the files, that this thing called black liquid is kind of like the helm of it. So as we go, you'll notice that we go through various different environments and landscapes, one of which being warehouses, which we're just entering now. Now, again, very similar to Metroid. There is a few things that is worth noting. So these save stations you can see here, you can just walk through them and instantly recharge your battery. So just to kind of mention a few things about the HUD whilst Link is playing through. So in the top left corner you have a health bar. The health bar is portrayed by a battery pack. You get 3 hits in this game. However, just because you get 3 hits does not mean that things can't kill you in 1 hit. A lot of things in this game can kill you instantly. So you have to be very careful about what you want to use as, we'll call it, damage control. So for the most part, like the acid that is at the bottom of here, that's basically instant death. If you fall on that, you instantly die. But then there'll be like some enemies where you can hit their trails, I guess, like lasers and things like that sometimes, and you'll be just fine. You'll take damage, but you'll have iframes. Now, just to kind of mention, the bar at the bottom will come in more useful as we go through this game. However, one thing that is worth noting, and this is very crucial, so the refresh rate that Linky is playing on is 144 Hz, but there's a reason for that. What we found out was, when I played the game, I played it at 1080p, 144 Hz, because that was the refresh rate of my monitor. I didn't think anything of it, but what we quickly found out was that you are able to have, if you play at 60 Hz, the meter goes down faster. But if you play at 144 Hz, which is what we do, then the meter goes down slower. For some weird reason, it basically means that you're able to maximize your abilities more. So in this game, we have several abilities that we'll be picking up. Again, I don't want to spoil things, but like I said, there are various weapons that we pick up and that we use as we go through. I could probably give you like 1 or 2 just to kind of give you a vague idea. So one of them is a laser, it's a plasma cutter it's called. It's basically like a sword. Another is, I think they're called space boots, and they basically act as your double jump in this game. Bit like in Metroid, although in Metroid, depending on the Metroid game, you'll have 2. So here's our first bit here. So that is Chungus. Yes, not kidding, that's actually the name of the GMO, it's Chungus. So there are 6 GMOs to collect in this game. As of right now, I might well just point out that this is as of right now. The Genopanic developers have said that updates are coming. We don't know if they're adding an extra or a few extra GMOs or anything like that. But we'll get to it as we get to it. So the first weapon that we're going to collect here is the plasma cutter. This is the first main bit here. and we're going to use the plasma cutter. Is great at cutting through things such as bubbles and things like that, acidic bubbles. Luckily the acid doesn't really hurt us here, so that's all good. So we go into this next room here, and we pick our next bit of equipment, which is the animal catcher, or the catcher. So this is how you capture these GMOs, or genetically modified organisms. I think it's
organisms.
I had to kind of watch what I was saying then. But this is the first one here. This is Chungus. So we've collected 1 out of 6. Now,
welcome back, Big Chungus.
There you go. But yeah, so you use the catcher to catch the GMOs. Now, some of them, all of them have, apart from Chungus, all of them have some sort of puzzle or unique area to them. Some do require a bit of puzzles. Some are just a case of follow a path and you'll find it. Now, it is worth mentioning that, unlike in a Metroid game, one of the biggest things about Metroid games is their backtracking. They're very, I think it's non-linear, so you can often explore, and then usually the way Metroid works, for those that are unaware, pretty sure everybody knows, but in case you're new to all this, so the way a Metroidvania usually works, Metroid game usually works, is you'll start the game with barely any abilities, or they'll find a way of somehow managing to say, oh, you've got no abilities all of a sudden for
you have
some
ability amnesia. Woohoo!
Just like that, you just get wiped out and there's all your abilities gone. So you always start with basically like ground zero. Also a brief jump scare there, just as a heads up. But you usually start from ground zero, and the way Metroid games usually work, not all games work like this, but usually Metroid works in a sense of you start with nothing, you work your way to a certain area, you realise you can't get past it without some sort of power-up, you then find a boss or the power-up via a data room or some sort of statue, Chozo statue in Metroid's case. And then you collect that, then you backtrack to that area that you couldn't explore before to explore the new area to unlock something else, and vice versa. Rinse and repeat, that's basically what happens. However, this does have that sort of stuff a little bit, but it's not 100% the case. Most of this game is linear, so chances are once you go, the thing is that it's worth mentioning, when you go past a certain point in this game, in certain rooms, there is no way of backtracking. You can't backtrack. So there'll be, for a case, you might go down an elevator shaft, and if you accidentally get save afterwards, you can't backtrack. So if you missed anything, that's it. There's a lot of places, there's a lot of times in this game where if you miss a certain area, for example, or you miss a certain GMO, which is quite easily done because I've done it, been there, done that, guilty as charged. But you can, if you so desire, you can miss a lot of things, and as a result get a different ending. Now, it's worth mentioning, whilst we're on the topic of things you can sometimes miss, although this isn't something you can miss, you have our first boss here, which is a robot-like boss, which is a nice easy boss. You just keep making him punch one side. You can make him punch whichever side you wish. If you're lucky, you're able to get 2 or 3 hits, but it depends. It really does depend. But he's pretty easy, easily done. So we now move on to the next section here. We can't go any further to our left-hand side because, as you can see, we have these red boxes here that have the exclamation mark in them. Unsurprisingly, this probably will not be a surprise to anybody, these boxes are explosives. They're a bit like TNT in most games. So if you accidentally swipe one, it blows up, you die, basically. Instant death. These lasers as well, the white lasers, these are also instant death. We've now got a laser shooter, which is such a good weapon in the game. It comes in very, very useful as we go. So we'll be using that a hell of a lot. So as the game progresses, obviously we'll be moving through a various amount of environments. as we said, and there are going to be points where we might have to divert off the any percent path to get these GMOs. Luckily, Chungus is a case of it doesn't take too much extra time to get Chungus, because Chungus is literally just a case of, well, yeah, Chungus is literally just a case of, you know, you can collect him en route. If you do the any percent, then it's like, there you go. So that's the main gist of it. But to kind of briefly cover the story up until this point, so you get told, yeah, obviously as I said, you need to do like a certain amount to get the game to finish the game. That is worth mentioning. Now there is a. This is also the reason why we have these save zones as well. They come in very, very useful. Some are a bit trickier than others, depending on the area. But one of the things that is probably worth noting is I accidentally found some speed tech on the first time I played this through. So this is actually like a funny coincidence. It's a funny, quick story. So when I played this game through casually, unbeknownst to me, I got to the end of the game and realised, so there's 19 creatures altogether. After you kill an enemy for the first time, it counts as a creature that you killed. And there are 19 altogether in total. And I got to the end of the game the first time and was like, wait a minute, I'm missing one. What am I missing? So as I found out, or as I was later to find out, that there is a mini-boss in this game that you can skip completely. Now, by complete friggin' accident, I'd skipped this boss and we had absolutely zero idea. So when I played it through the second time and found the boss, I went, huh, okay, this is the thing, I guess. Not only that, but when I did a speedrun, I went down the route of, oh, okay, there's this boss. I wouldn't, you know, like, didn't think I could skip him. To which point then Linky says, didn't you skip him? And I was like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, I'm sure you skipped him. I was like, no, I didn't skip him. It's like, do you not remember on your first playthrough? And I'm like, yeah, I didn't fight him in my first playthrough. How did I do that? So it turns out that in one of the sections, we used like a crate, which we're able to skip doing this boss. We'll get to him. You won't actually see said boss, but I can explain. But that was like the first bit of speed tech. The second one Linky found, and the third one I think Bruno found quite a lot. So it's worth mentioning, recently we've had a new runner by the name of Bruno, who's come on the scene. And he did a any percent time way quicker than we thought was possible. Like, I knew I had time save and stuff, but I had no friggin' idea that, you know, there was time save in a lot of places. So that particular jump that Link has just done there to get the jetpack, that's actually where one of the bits of time save came from, thanks to Bruno. So our next piece of equipment, as you can see, we've collected the jetpack. The jetpack is going to be a very useful piece of equipment. It becomes even more useful when we collect an upgrade further down the line. So we're going to head it over to the left-hand side here, which these are the laboratories. Now, to get over here, there is a few ways to get over, but obviously we're going to play this one safe, so we're going to get on the train here. Now, the train, a bit like in some of the Metroid games that you can play, the train connects several parts of the station together. So this is going to take us from the laboratories to the labs, I believe. Sorry, the warehouses to the labs.
The labs to the labs.
That was the wrong one. Yeah, the warehouse to the laboratory. Laboratories, sorry. And this is where the fun parts start now.
Whoops.
But
I tried to get
apart
the
from
bucket.
I try, aside from myself talking myself to death, there are a few. There's another GMO here, which is known as Toxie, I believe it is.
Yeah, that's Toxie.
And the thing is, as well, you may notice as well that we have a character there. I forget the name of the character. The dog in the spacesuit, basically.
Like, I think it is.
Is it like? I can't remember the name of it.
Laik.
He's your companion. Think of him as, again, like we've mentioned before, there's a lot of similarities to Metroid in this. One of which being that like is similar to like the Adam Malkovich from Metroid. So yeah, there you go. Now, whilst Link is doing this, it's just worth noting. So the next main part of this game that we're going to be doing now involves us getting our next ability, which we'll get very, very shortly. So that's always one bit that I can never get.
Kill?
Yeah, to get a free kill.
Yeah, you wait for that enemy to come to the bottom of its hover and shoot the box, and the explosion's just big enough to kill him. He doesn't really matter too much, it just saves you a little bit of health.
So, this is where the fun starts now. So this is called the Dash Pack. The Dash Pack is one of the main reasons this game becomes so speedy. Up until this point, the game is relatively relaxed. I'll be honest, it is.
Oh, no.
But, as you go through the game, you'll realise that this now is going to become a bit more quicker. So because of as I said, because of the jetpack makes things way faster, and now it becomes a case of. I was going to say, don't do that.
Do not do that.
So I had a funny moment a few weeks ago. So myself and Linky did a race of this, and I accidentally got that sludge thing stuck on that lift that goes up. Not the one she's on now, the one before. And I was like, well, that's never happened before. I had to send it up and then wait for it to come back down again. It was very weird. But yeah, as we were saying, there's a fair bit of speed in this. And like I said, for the most part, it is being as fast as possible. Now, unsurprisingly, as we were talking about, and as we mentioned before, with it being a Metroidvania style game, if you're into Metroid, highly recommend giving this game a try. If you're not, still give this game a try. I guarantee you'll enjoy it. You really will. The thing is, with Metroid, a lot of it is going back and forward. In Metroid speedruns, you tend to not, well, depending on the game. Some Metroid games go to and from. Some don't. But, in the case of this one, it's very linear. So you won't have to worry about, oh no, but what if I do this, and oh, I've got to backtrack all that way and stuff like that. Like, there is puzzles, there are things to find hidden in the dark. But yeah, for the most part, it's not too bad. Oh wow, that was pretty lucky. That's exactly what you want to have. So that box fall there is the reason why the whole boss skip thing is a thing, because as we were saying, you've got this sludgy boss thing. I think, what was it called? Malkovich? You forgetting Toxic?
Kolbich.
So you forgetting Toxic?
Armor. Oh.
You're too used to doing 80%.
I am too used to it.
So this is gonna be a fun part. I think you soft lock yourself.
No. It's this way.
Too used to doing 80%. That's what it is.
Yep.
Whilst I've been talking, I'm sure we've got a donation or two or anything to read. So I think you will have to go back. Whilst we're doing that.
Yeah,
I'll have to
I
quit
can
out
do
and load.
final plug.
Yep, go for it. We've got time. Yeah, if you want to mention anything, feel free to go ahead, I'm sure.
No, it does not look like we have anything new that has come in since the last time, which is sad. So let's take a second, remind everybody that we are here raising money for Save the Children. You can see our goal down there at the bottom of the screen. That $5,692 would mark $51,000 raised for charity, and I believe 31 or 33,000 raised for Save the Children itself. So that is our current goal. That is what we're looking at reaching. We are currently at $5,290 raised, so we should see if we can do that. Chat, take time, see if you can donate. $5 goes a whole lot of a way when it's a bunch of people doing it. So thank you so much for everything already, and let's see how much more we can do.
Yeah, thank God you were here. I was completely locked in. And my double jump not work?
Might have to do that bit again, but
Yeah.
either way. Yeah, so as you can see, the apart from the slight mistake there, but it's been a case of with the GMOs, it does mean that you have to go out of your way to collect them. So as a result, it does mean that this category is longer. Overall, it's hard to put an exact pinpoint as to how much longer all GMOs actually is, because you're collecting them. I think it just comes down to how fast you can collect them, really. So in terms of like overall, the overall speed of collecting them, it can depend anywhere. It can vary from, I'd say, 5 to 10 minutes, depending.
Yeah, I'd
I
say
think
about
like
that.
my average is about, I think it's about 5 minutes, or give or take, something like that.
I'd say probably about
Um,
7-ish.
Yeah, I can't really remember, but regardless. So this probably is a perfect time to bring this one up. So this is our least favorite room in the entire game. So the reason for this is you have all these bubbles. Now the idea of these bubbles is you need to jump across them. Now thankfully that went fine.
Okay, we're safe.
But yeah, but that particular part of the that room is very stressful, because getting over said bit is a bit of a nightmare. So
Didn't get a high enough jump. Oh well.
could probably do with killing him.
No, he's fine. He gets to live. He is not an enemy, he's just like an excited dog. When they see they bolt at you.
It's a sludge. Reminds me of the sludges from Crash of the Titans, I think. I remember those, the good old days with them creatures. In a weird sort of question, but like, I always think that games don't have too many sludge-like creatures anymore. I don't know if that's just a me thing, or like just genuinely speaking. I don't know. I generally have no idea.
Ooh.
Also, I realised something as well. When you go past the sign, it when you go past the sign, it regenerates your full bar.
Does it?
Yeah, which is always a bit of a weird one, because I always would think that. I always think if you go through a save state, that's, you know, a save location.
Mm-hmm.
Your bar regenerates, but it doesn't if you go through a sign, which is really weird.
Alright, well, will my jump be yet? It will not. We'll see.
Oh. So, the main thing with, as we were saying before about this meter, is you might have times where it'll be close to deteriorating. If we was doing this run on 60 hertz, like the refresh rate was 60 hertz, that meter would go by so much faster. And the person who found that out was Linky. She was playing at 60 hertz and was like,
Oh!
why is your bar not going down so fast? And I'm like, I don't know. And I was like, well, I'm playing at 144 hertz. It's like, well, I'm playing at 60. He's like, nah, that can't be right. So then we had the game at 60 hertz, and then had it at 144, and immediately spotted it. Was like, ain't no way that that's a thing. So yeah, credit to Linky for spotting that. Now, just to kind of mention a few things whilst Linky's doing these puzzles here. that in most cases of this game, like I said, with it being non-linear and everything like that, it means that we'll obviously be we'll have to use our initiative for completing said puzzles and make sure we avoid death. Now, you can sometimes skip some of these. For example, this is our next one. So, one of the main creatures in this that is an absolute pain is this one. So this one is Moncat. It is a monkey and a cat mixed together. How they came up with this idea, I don't know. I have absolutely zero idea how they came up with this idea. But anyhow, so Moncat is a pain in the backside, to put it bluntly, because you have to do a certain way of getting him. So, what you need to do is you need to throw him. So he's in the tree right now and he won't come out. So what you need to do is you need to put the ball where you think he's going to be. And then once you've got the ball with where he's going to be, you then need to, he'll then attach to it. If that makes sense.
That was actually my cleanest Moncat I've ever done, I think.
There you go. It's also kind of worth mentioning as well that there is a few times where the door will be the transition between certain things will be a bit quicker. We don't know why this is. We still can't figure out why, but it can be faster in some cases. So you'll see the transition between the doors. So as we go through from one area to another, you'll notice that we have you'll notice that we have a particular like transition that happens. It depends, like I said, it just depends on the area. So we've moved out of that area. We're now into I'll call this the environmental area. But you'll notice there are like these cocoon things here. You're like, I wonder what that entails. So there's going to be a bit of interesting lore here that's going to come into effect. So we're now into we're going to be in a second, but we're now going to go into an area where we are introduced to a brand new creature. Now, in this particular region, or this particular part, this is called the living quarters. And in this particular part, we face off against Black Liquid twice. Now, you'll see what I mean when I say we face off against it twice, but you'll notice immediately that it's a lot warmer and that there's spikes in places as well. Now, to me, this reminds me a lot of, because I compared this game a lot to Metroid Fusion, given the sectors, the zones. It's a bit like Metroid Fusion. So this one would probably be Sector 2, I think, given the environment and given how it's warm and like tropical sort of environment, I think. Also, that is the only time in the game where you'll encounter an occupied save station. It's quite funny as well, the noise it makes, I won't lie. It does make me laugh.
Oh, okay. I guess you die then.
There we go. So, we've got to make sure that we get through this particular part of the section.
I've been having a lot of problems with that block recently.
But we have a massive monkey box here. Now this is quite funny because the guy who's dead on the floor, he was saying like, I really want to. He says something like, I really want to catch that blooming monkey thing, and it's like, you know, he really wants to catch it. So he's like, you know what? I'll just take all the bananas then. That'll work. So in the process, that's what he does. But yeah, because of all the spikes everywhere, it means that we've obviously got a very high chance of us potentially getting killed. There's, like I said, as the game progresses, unsurprisingly, as the game goes on, it gets a bit harder. Also, this is the first time that we know that it says the vegan zombies didn't eat him. So, it's a bit of a weird one, this, but it's very strange in the fact that we actually hear the word zombies mentioned in this game. Because normally, we don't... Like, that's the thing, we never, like, get a mention at all of zombies at all. It's really weird. I don't know why, but it just is never there. It's very odd. Nice. Very good, decent movement. So, this is where getting killed is quite easy to do. So we want to be careful. So this GMO in particular is called Leafy for this section. So we're going to have to make sure that we capture it. Now, to capture Leafy, we have a unique situation. Because Leafy is a case of... It's a case of you need to block off like one of the doors or get between one of the doors to get there. So we have one of these puzzle games. Now we have one of the easiest puzzle games here, which is this. It's constantly going up and down like that. Now you might think you've got a lot of time, but you really don't. It is very tight on its time limit. Like I said, luckily it's just straight up, straight down, nice and easy. Nothing to worry about. Now, again, as I said, we're still in the living quarters here, so we need to be careful. So we use the dash here against the wind to stop us from being completely killed off. Now, it gets a bit more tricky now, because now it's a case of matching the lasers and being careful not to mistime anything here. Because if you mistime it, you can easily get killed, which thankfully we didn't. A lot of this section does rely heavily on getting lasers at the right time, at the right spot. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there is one particular part, I don't think it's this bit coming up now, but there's one particular part where Linky still wonders how I can do it fast.
Hey guys.
Also, there's the Among Us reference. It's there. We do actually have them. We also get the space boots. So, hey, gravity boots. Sorry, I always thought they were called space boots, but they're called gravity boots. So again, the lasers now play a huge part in this game at this point. As like I said, as you go through the game, there are various points regarding going to places. It's very tricky, or it can be very tricky, so getting the timings right is always one thing. Now, being completely honest, as I said, a bit like any sort of Metroid game, if you get your timings wrong, then it can lead to some very embarrassing moments. Like one of the things in particular for us is a case of some of these sections can be quite deceiving. They look easy, but they're really not. Depending, it just depends. So this is our first taste of black liquid. So black liquid is not black, it's purple. I don't have a clue why they call it purple liquid. I have no idea. Genuinely speaking, I have no idea. But it's a thing. It's like some sort of sludge. If I'm being completely honest, anyone that's seen the film called The Stuff from the 1980s may think that this looks very similar. I don't know. If anyone here has seen a film called The Stuff, if you know which film I'm on about, good for you, and just tell me down in the chat if you recognise it. So,
Piper's favourite section.
Here comes my least favourite section. So, these are called crabiders. Crabiders are a mix of spiders and crabs, as the name suggests. However, at this point in the game, they are damn near impossible to kill. You can't kill these things with your current arsenal. And as it suggests, you need a flamethrower. So, when I played this through the first time, I hated this section with a passion because I died, I don't know how many times. I have died on runs before as well. Thankfully though, once you get the flamethrower,
That was weird.
like that, you're now able to kill them. Now, as I was saying before, unlike Metroid games which are very linear in what they try to do, the flamethrower is very, very useful and can kill enemies. It does come in quite useful, especially in the ice section. Now the thing is on this one is this is actually a red herring. So when I say red herring is when you activate that button, the game wants you to go back to front, because if you don't, then it's the case of, well, you accidentally get killed basically by the black liquid, so to speak. So we'll see how this goes, but you have to time a lot of things right. If you get a jump like that, yeah, that's kind of actually I was trying to think of how to say, but there you go. But anyway, but the next part here is we need to get our next GMO, which involves doing a bit of a laser puzzle. So what we need to do is we need to wait here and wait for the laser.
No. There we go.
So it's just all about the timing in this one.
That's too close. Get into answer.
Take
This-
it easy, you'll do it all right.
Yeah, it's... Oh. It's one of those puzzles I hate the most because it relies on so much waiting. I shall stay here.
But yeah, whilst we're going through this, so yeah, so we're going for the next. That was an interesting way of doing that puzzle. I wouldn't have done it that way, but anyhow.
Yeah,
So
there's
this is
multiple ways to do it.
actually the first time in this game that you can actually softlock here, because that block is in a weird position.
No,
where if you don't
can't.
jump over it,
I
you
checked. You were just
do get
bad at jumps.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But I always got softlocked. I couldn't. I could actually stand on the edge and then pull it. Anyway, regardless, so we've now collected our fourth GMO, which was called Leafy, and it's now going to be interesting to see how Linky gets out of this one. Personally speaking. There we go. There we go. And we're through. Well, not quite. Close enough. So, well, obviously, you'll notice as well that as soon as we collect a new weapon, we must. Well, we don't must use it, but
It's just highly likely you need to use it somewhere in that
will be
room.
using it. Yeah. So this particular room is one that Linky doesn't like. I absolutely love the room. Well, I don't actually. I do hate it myself because I do something here that she doesn't do, and she still wonders about it to this day. So basically, at that particular point in the map, is that I can run past this, but I do a double jump and then hover very close to that laser, and she thinks I'm nuts for doing it.
I mean, it has bit you once in the past.
It has.
I'm gonna risk it.
There we go. So we're out of the living quarters. Living quarters is a bit tricky. But once you're out of it, it's like, Now, here's the best bit. We're not going to be seeing the next GMO for about another 15 to 20 minutes. Give or take.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad. Now, we actually had a chat about this. So, one of the things we found out about this game, and it wasn't too much, but the game has, just for those that are interested, so this game is up for sale on Steam. You can get it for about £8 or £9. So it's not too expensive. Again, it's a great little, in my opinion, a great little indie gem. The indie market has been thriving a lot over the last couple of years, and has come out with some absolute masterpieces. I'm sure some people may agree. For me, this was one of them. Like, I'm not a big Metroidvania sort of person. I play Metroid Fusion and I played a few of the Metroid Prime games, but Metroid Fusion is a game that I do like playing, but not like that much. And it's not something that I speedrun myself. I'm more of a racing game kind of person. However, after I played this a few times, I quite enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed playing with the speed tech and things like that. Plus, as well, to be able to show it off for events with me and Linky being able to show it off at events has been quite fun. It's been quite enjoyable as well. But yeah, it's a case of, normally this is not really my sort of game, but I quite enjoyed playing it. It was quite fun. And yeah, it's all nice and neat. So this is a fun one, because you can do that. You can go straight through. So at this point, by the way, if you get into that elevator, this is the point of no return now. You can't go back. A lot of the game does have like a no end. You can't turn around and go back, mainly because that happens. The elevator crashes in the reactor, and that's kind of it. At this point now, we're on our end game. The end game's still a little bit off. But now we're into the reactors. The reactor involves new environment. First and foremost, it's fire environment. So it's very much like the sector of, I think it's sector 3 in Fusion from memory. I think it is. That's the fire section, I think. So there'll be a lot of times where Linky might have to concentrate. Not that I don't think she has been doing anyway, but there'll be a lot of times that she has to concentrate during the fire section, because it is a bit difficult. But as I was saying before, you can get this game, something like a couple of bucks, I think like $10 maybe, on Steam, I believe. And if it's ever on sale, definitely pick this up. It is a hidden gem for sure. Speedrunning wise, it's very much ideal. That's not the reason I'm saying to suggest picking this game up. I would honestly suggest it to anybody, if you're a Metroid fan or if you're not. Like I said, if you're a Metroid fan, you might enjoy this. I mean, no, actually, I'll take that back. If you're a Metroid fan, you will like this. If you're someone that doesn't play Metroid games, still give this a try. I still think you can get some enjoyment out of it. Speedrunning might ruin it for some people, but I wouldn't really look at it in that regard. So, as you've just seen, one of the key things regarding these fire guys is that if you shoot them or come into contact with them, they will kill you. They will blow themselves up. So you can already see our next GMO is Blaze. And I always struggle with that section, I'll be honest. Oh, okay, you really got better moves than I have. Gee whiz. Very nice. Damn, Linky did practicing.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh!
As I say that. That was very, very close.
This is a very big room, so it's very easy to die and get reset right at the beginning.
There is, in particular here, there is a section that is very useful with the iframes. So if you're unlucky, you will get. Okay, so you can get through this particular section with the iframes, which is quite useful. So at this current moment, this bit's still bugged. It still needs to be patched. But if you die in this room, the game will not. For some reason, the elevator just stops working.
Yeah.
Like the button doesn't work or anything like that. I don't know why it does that. I've not a clue why it does that, but it's still something that doesn't.
The only section to date, I think, that's still bugged like that for some reason. So, yeah, I'm being very careful until I reach the next checkpoint.
But after that, it's fairly straightforward. Well, he says. The game's anything but simple. Their explosion radius for these characters, by the way, the fire characters, their explosion radius is far bigger than you think. There are the thing is, you'll notice as soon as you hit one, it immediately goes, oh hey. Yeah, as soon as you hit one, you'll notice that it immediately goes, oh yeah, you've got like, he slows you down. And yeah, you just need to be careful, really.
Oh, why did I do that?
That was pretty close. The thing is, when you have, what is it? When you have the gravity gun, everything gets a bit more tricky as well. Not the gravity gun, the freeze gun. On the way to the freeze gun, which we've now got. Wahey! So we now have the freeze gun, which is the case of now we need to get this bit done. So there is a particular part with the freeze gun that we need it for. So we'll obviously need it during this section, but we'll also need it a bit later on as well. Not that much later as far as I remember. But we do need it for capturing Blaze. So Blaze here is this dog. It is a heat. It's a hot dog, literally. The dog's red hot. It is the fire GMO, I think. That's probably the easiest way I could put it.
Yeah.
So it's in its own room, and we're going to have to use the freeze ray, cool ray, freeze gun, whatever it's called. We'll have to use this a lot during this. Now, we haven't found a quicker way of doing this to get this GMO yet. However, it is possible that you can do this section fast enough when you get to the bottom that you can actually go through Blaze. So you'll probably spot Blaze in a second when we get to him. And I think it is Blaze from what I remember the name wise.
Yeah, it's Blaze.
Yeah. So there's Blaze there. Now if you're quick enough, you can actually go right to there you go. Like that, you can go right through him. His animation plays regardless, which is quite funny to be honest.
Why can't I just catch him, video game? He's right there.
I'd laugh if one of the things you can do is you can pull out the animal catcher on that frame and capture him. It's like a hat. Because the thing is, close, is that what you can do in this, with Blaze in particular, is Blaze just stands there and lets you capture him. It's like, it could have put a bit more of a fight, to be honest, but given the platforming you've got to do, to be fair, given the platforming you've got to do to get to him, which is this bit here, by the way, it's a bit of a pain to get to him. He is a bit of a hassle.
Oh. Trigger happy.
Yeah, I could tell you got trigger happy there. So what we've got to do now is we can basically get to him here. So he just stands there, doesn't put up a fight, nothing, and you can just pick him up just like that.
What the dog doing?
So, there we go. So we've now got a cat crossed with a monkey. We've got a dog that's red hot, a hot dog. We've got a plant lookalike GMO. We've got a rabbit sort of looking thing. So I bet you're wondering what the last GMO is. I won't spoil it, but you'll see. But I'm pretty sure, from memory, it's called Krista, is it?
Yep.
I've got to remember that one right. So Krista
play
is
this video
located. Krista is located in the ice section, which we'll get to in due course. So yeah, it's just a case of now what we've got to do is now. What I didn't mention is in a second, or in a short second, we'll be going through the fire section, but the fire section is a case of it needs to. I mean, it's quite a big fire section now, but I think it's after this room from memory.
I can't remember. I just remember the rooms as soon as I go in.
But basically, there's a fire section in a minute that we've got to do.
Okay.
You're getting too lucky on these, I'll tell you.
When I was actually practicing, he was stuck in the corner over here. Very weirdly.
The thing is, when you're on full health, I mean, I'll be honest, when I'm on full health, I feel very confident.
Okay, I'm gonna go for it again.
When I'm on one, I'm like, this is the sense of dread you get.
I'll go for this. Be fancy.
Sweat. Oh my god.
It's not that hard.
I can't ever get that. So for those that don't know about what that strat is, so what Linky does there, and what Bruno did it as well, is we use the iframes to make ourselves invincible to get through the danger. And it turns out that the reason why Bruno gained so much time during the any percent was because he basically was like, oh yeah, you can abuse the iframes in some cases, and that allows you to speed up everything. Now I get iframes sometimes on them lasers, but Linky's tried it and she dies every time. So we're a bit like confused as to how the iframes really work on some of the things, which is really strange. Here we go. Here's the section I was on about. So now you'll notice as well the video game, the music has stepped up a mark. So now it's like getting serious. This is kind of like, okay, now you're on a mission. And for those that like synthwave sort of music, I think you'll probably enjoy this to an extent. The music is a bit of an interesting one. So one of the main things above all else is that obviously the game has a soundtrack, you can obviously hear it, but the game's soundtrack is too good, in my opinion. It is way too good for its own kind. In my opinion, it was one of the things that stood out about this game, in a weird kind of way. I don't know why, but something about the music, it's very 80s style, and I absolutely love it. With like I said, you know, the synthwave sort of feel to it, it's great. What do you make of it, Linky?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I really like this section, just because it gets very synthy. I'm just gonna say as well, I am surprised I made it through that bit.
Oh, mine to an extent, but not so much.
Oh, I was expecting to die.
So we have a mini boss here. So this is a mini boss that you can actually start hitting on its way down. So it has a basic attack that it will dash at, and if you hit it hard enough, you're probably better off spamming, by the way. Just saying.
What?
Well, you can try it again now.
I can try it again. Wow.
You can do it now. So, as we were saying, to kind of go back 5 seconds. Yeah, so this is another mini boss. Now, I remember this being a bit difficult when I first defeated this character. And I remember thinking, oh my god, this is so hard, but it turns out it just isn't. You can just keep jumping over him like this.
Make sure my toe doesn't touch a smoke particle.
There we go. So with the fact of we've now done the boiler, we're now into something called the collector, which is a water section. So this is essentially like, again, I'll keep comparing this to Metroid Fusion. That's the easiest way I can compare it. This is like Sector 4 in Metroid Fusion, where it's on like an underwater section sort of thing. Anyone that's played Metroid Fusion will probably agree with what I'm saying with the sections being like they are. Now, there's a fun part here, which is the fact of the spikes everywhere, which I'm not a big fan of. But anyhow. But yeah, we have some water physics in here, which is interesting. Ooh.
Oh, it didn't work.
So, just to try and explain what Linky was doing there. So, the idea is to... Well, during that one anyway, in particular, is you want to make sure that you're... well, basically you want to make sure that you're going, like, when you go through that particular section in particular, you want to make sure that you collect the wheel thing. I don't know what you call it. I guess it is the wheel, the valve wheel, whatever the hell it is. You can collect that as it's falling, which is interesting because, well, normally it shouldn't, but it does. I don't know. It's a bit weird when you can collect it as you go. For me, though, I just let it fall and then just pick it up afterwards. But Bruno was like, yeah, you can actually catch it. The frog hits it, and if you keep like spamming B as it's dropping it, providing it doesn't hit you, you can collect the valve.
No, you can take the hit. You just need to spam it and get there a bit fast enough before he hits it. Because if you don't get there fast enough, you kind of like throw it at an angle and stuff. It's weird. You need to make sure you are at the right speed, but you don't want to go too far into the frog.
Yeah, we have to go and get all these valves again. A lot of this does involve getting the valves. There is actually a bit that there was actually one bit in particular here that I was quite happy to spot like quite early on. So when I played this game through the first time, and I was going through the water section, there is a bit that involves picking the wheel up. Now, if you are at the bottom somewhere and you collect the wheel and you throw it in water, it goes to the surface. It rises to the surface. Now, obviously, you don't want it to rise to the surface, so what you can do, and Link will hopefully show it off, pretty sure she can, is that
you
don't like
transition.
That transition, do you?
I do
That's
not
what
like
I meant
that
by transition. Is that what you can do is you can throw it so it catches on an edge, and then what we're able to do is rather than like swim all the way to the top to collect this valve, we don't have to do that. Which is quite interesting. Do you know what? I'm very sure if you change the music to Metroid Fusion music, I reckon people would probably... They wouldn't confuse this with Metroid Fusion, but it wouldn't be far off. I think it could work quite well. Oh, The timing on that is difficult. If you're lucky, you can get it on the first try. If you're not, and you mistime it, then you can get killed. I usually have to wait now because it's killed me that many times. So
I usually get it on the first cycle. It's usually not as tight as that, but...
I can't anymore. I can't get it first time anymore.
That was like me with running away from Black Liquid. I just had a period of time where I just could not do it too clean. It was like I had beginner's luck for the first couple of attempts, and then afterwards I'm just like, I am washed, I can't get this.
Yeah, it's been a case of so Genopanic's actually been in a couple of events this year, not in person I might add, but it's been in a couple of events this year, and the fact that we've managed to get it in, the fact that Linky's managed to get it in Speed Docs, which is a big thanks to the team behind Speed Docs for allowing this game to get in, it's been amazing because, you know, at the end of the day, it's an indie game, and indie games do deserve love. You know, they shouldn't be left in the dark, I don't think. You know, and that sort of stuff. So there is a little mini strat that me and Lincoln was talking about before we came on, which is them two blocks that you just saw fall off the edge there. We reckon that if you time it, because you can actually shoot one so it knocks the other one off slowly, and if you time when one of the blocks falls off, it blocks the lasers for just about enough time that you can fall with the block and skip going round. It'll save like 2 or 3 seconds, I think, maybe 5 at a push. But it was like, it's time save, but it's tricky time save. It's a good skill to show off if you can get it, but for like being really good. That's the bit I meant, by the way, when I said about the valve. You can make it catch on that edge there, which is really good. Also, we have to wait until all the water drains from this area, unfortunately.
Bloop, bloop, bloop.
Like that. And it opens the door, and voila. Now this brings us nicely into Sector 5, we'll call it, aka the Ice Section. So Ice Section has new enemies, so you'll notice that we now have ice zombies. So we've had well, I guess they are referred to as zombies now. So we had the regular zombies, we've had fire zombies, and now we've got ice zombies. Now, worth mentioning, real quick. So the ice zombies are pretty difficult to kill. If you use a flamethrower, they die a lot faster. But we get to see Krista there, and she seems to sneeze and then immediately disappears again. So, one of the things about this as well is, believe it or not, the ice section is one of the sections of the game. This room in particular changed its layout, which was really interesting because we played through the game and then was like, wait a minute, this room's different. That's new. Didn't think it was, but it was.
Yeah, when this came out, we were both busy with life and hadn't been able to do any practicing or races for a good bit. Then Bruno appeared and we were watching through one of his attempts and we're like, hold on, what is that room, Brad? I've never seen that room in my life. Whoop. Oh, come on. It's giving me the prompt, but it doesn't want to give it. Okay, never mind. That's mean. I was getting into practice too.
Close but no cigar.
That's really
It's
weird.
it's also another one as well where you have this prompt given to you. And
Ooh.
oh blimey, you got the super jump, nice. So one of the key things about Genopanic is, obviously depending on the area will depend on what sort of creatures you encounter. Now, I forgot to mention, so during the Crab-Iders section in particular, this is a bit like for the cutting room floor, I guess, but this game released with a press pack. It's free to access. You can get to it via Keymailer or via the website, I believe, as well. Which is it has animations and stuff like that, as well as screenshots, videos, that sort of thing, logos, artwork, you name it. Developers have put it all in there for people to see. Now, all the things in particular that the developers had put in, which was very interesting, was they had put in a crab-eider boss, which is basically like a big spider thing.
Climb.
And yeah, it was like a big spider sort of thing, and yeah, it really made the difference. It was pretty crazy. Oh, she got the jump. Way.
I got the jump.
But yeah, it was really strange. Like, for some odd reason, just really strange. But for whatever reason, I don't remember why exactly, they never included it. I don't know what caused it or why, but also here is the final GMO. So you wanted it, and there you go. That's the final GMO collected. So we've completed our objective for the game. Now, I will just kind of mention one thing. The GMOs do have significance. That's all I'm going to say. Nothing else. Just they do have significance. So we're now going to get through the main ice section. Now, this includes a funny moment. There is, I think it's the next room in particular. I want to say it's the next room. I don't think it's this one. But basically, there is a room which I specifically refer to it as Linky's room. Because a funny moment happened when she was playing the game through, I think. This wasn't, I don't know if it was a speedrun, was it? It was just when you were playing
it was just
through.
casual.
So she was playing the game through, and it's not this room, I can't remember which one it is.
Whee!
Might be the next one. It's this room. This is it. So, in this room here, there is this box. There is this puzzle. The puzzle basically conforms to, you need to push this box, bring it forward like that, and then you need to get it to the end. Now, hopefully...
No, it's still though, it's fine. The glitch doesn't happen anymore.
Doesn't happen anymore, but she didn't stumble into this. She wasn't the only one to stumble into this. We'll be like straight up honest with you. This wasn't a case of she came up with it and all the rest of it. It wasn't one of them. It was a case of...
It was quite a common glitch.
It was a common glitch for a few people. I never got it, but she did, and a few other people got it as well. And the glitch was you'd move, and that crate would move with you for some odd reason. It was really freaking strange. I don't know why it was like that. It just was.
Yeah, the input of you grabbing onto the box was still cached or something. So when you would respawn, it pretended like you were still there holding it, despite the fact you were 10 meters away. And it was kind of game breaking, to be honest. So that thankfully got fixed in the next update.
So there's an interesting little time skip here that I don't do, but she does.
You don't do either of them?
I don't do either of them, no. But basically you can just skip that entire section on the right for no reason.
No!
Oh, you can get it, you can still get it. There you go. Yes. There we go. So with that one, I just wait me. I don't go 100 miles an hour. Linky's actually doing some of these bits faster than I would do it, and I'm reasonably quick at some of these bits, so... But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point being, it is a case of it can be a bit of a tricky situation in this one. So, I actually found out a thing here, which is if you die at this particular bit before that, that part will actually soft lock. You'll actually have to quit out of the game. Luckily, the easiest fix is you've got to quit out and then go back in. So, we're now going into Dogma. So Dogma is like the final part of this game. And this is where we're going to face off against Black Liquid. Now, I'm going to let Linky show this off, but basically, she found a skip here. And this saves a fair bit of time. Doesn't save loads, but it saved, what was it, about a minute and a bit? I think, 50 seconds or something. So, this is Dogma, this is the finale part now. So I'll let her concentrate. The funny thing is you can attack those arms, and if you duck down when the arms latch on, you can actually see the bottom of the arm itself. It's quite funny. It's like there's nothing there. It's not actually attached to a monster if you try looking down.
And we'll see it.
So what happens here, the skip is that in that particular section there, on the in that particular section, the game has a activation, and if you hit said activation, then you end up, well, if you hit the activation, the arms pull down the lift, and if they pull down the lift too much, then you end up you'll end up getting killed, basically. No, you won't. Sorry, not end up getting killed. Sorry.
Now you just do the section as normal.
You pull down. You do the section as normal, but the section takes about 2 minutes or so to do. Whereas if it doesn't activate, it means that, yeah, by not activating that particular section, it means that you're not, you don't have any of this extra stuff that happens.
Ooh, okay. Funky hitboxes. Ooh.
So these things from the ceiling, they killed me a lot in my casual playthrough, and I'll be honest, they will probably catch everybody off guard, because they are an absolute pain to get past.
Oh, you could just be like me and confuse which ones are bad.
I'm not gonna lie, every time I see you on one bar, I'm like,
It's fine.
every time. And for some reason, as I said, it's like a very heart in your moment mouth, because you know the next hit will be your last.
Yeah.
And you just have to hope. You have to hope that there is gonna be a safe zone there. What other things to mention? So you can see that these pink or these purple squiggly things, so to speak, that are this.
Ooh.
Here comes the bit no one likes. Yeah, that bit in particular. But all these purple things you can see, they will instantly kill you if you're not careful. It is possible to somehow get a free hit because of them, but there's not really a big chance of that happening. It has happened to me on 1 or 2 occasions, but replicating it is not consistent. It's just not consistent enough. We get the bubble room part 2. Thankfully though, this bubble room is actually better than the first one because, well, there's more bubbles about, and believe it or not, it's actually an easier level. Only slightly, but it's easier.
I mean, there's no bottomless pits or acid pits in this one, so it's a lot easier to deal with. If you fall, you just touch the ground again. Also, we tend to... I tend to get that save point. Linky's done that as well. Because if you die here, then it obviously resets all your progress. So it's just a case of making sure you don't want to be... Yeah, don't want to be getting killed here, just in case.
So you've got to go through in particular this section here, because there is a lever that you need to pull to get there's a button that you need to press here. Also, this guy's just stood here. We're just going to walk around him. He's quite funny actually because he just stands there.
You're just
it's
chilling.
Like, yeah, he's just chilling.
We try not to kill as many enemies as we comfortably can, because if you haven't noticed,
Undertale. Before people start saying this is like Undertale, it's pacifist percent. No, it's not. But Link is right. It is a case of
it freezes the game a little bit. So ideally, you don't want the game to freeze, so you try not to kill them.
Whether the developers intended to have it like this or not, I don't know. Also, that was risky. My God. You forget about the bubble.
Nah, I just didn't get enough height for it.
I have to admit, I always forget about the bubble. The bubbles some of the bubbles do look like they blend in.
Yeah,
which
it's
is kind of my only hitch with this, but
I do wish they were still bright blue.
So in the original builds, or older builds of the game, these bubbles were like a turquoise light blue, I think.
It's the same blue that's on the inside of some of the like gooey bits, like here.
And it made it way easier to see them.
Yeah.
I understand why the devs did it. The devs probably did it because, you know, it matches the colour of the environment, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's like, you know, you've won, but at what cost? Sort of thing. So this particular part here is nerve-wracking to say the least. With all these, so basically everything that's on top and the bottom there can kill you. Basically it's like the floor is lava, but the roof is lava, and everything else is lava. Like it is a case of everything in this.
The floor is lava, the walls are lava, my life is lava.
Like very on edge.
Not gonna die here because I will hit that corner.
So we now move into the final boss fight of the game, which is Black Liquid itself. And what we want to do is want to get it down 4 times. That's the first time. So to get it to come back up, we need to hit its tentacles. And if we stand too close to it, by the way, if you get touched by the Black Liquid stuff, it will kill you instantly. It doesn't like give you 3 hits. It is literally like instant death, and then once it kills you, it's like you've got to go back to start the fight again. So that's the 3rd time. The reason why we know it's 4 times because on the 4th time it will, when it shows up, it'll start flashing black. The screen will start to flash. And there'll be a thing that opens up on the right hand side. So now we're in the final climb. If you're ready on time, I'd probably get ready because it's coming up. Although we've got to wait about an extra 20 seconds on top of it, so we'll let you know when we get there. So don't do a me. don't throw the run. I did that.
Oh, he's not there. So I have really bad luck of a random enemy spawning here, but thankfully he didn't, so...
So the time will be when she gets in the rocket, so I'll let you can say when time is.
Yep, just get ready because it just comes up. So we're Volga here. Yes, her name's Volga, it's never actually said in game either. Which is sad because she can't leave, but at least we've saved all the GMOs, so... Her final word is, you know, to time. There we go. Her final message is basically to let everyone know what's going on this planet, to try and save it, I guess, to nuke it, because anyone who was alive is no longer alive. Or if they are alive, they're on the ship, so... But that's actually going to be one of the updates, is something to do with Volga, because there's actually been some updates to the achievements, which for someone like me who's a completionist, angers me because I can't complete it yet. We have to wait till the next update. But
so
it's nice.
This is all part of the, like you were saying, it's all part of the next update. It's worth mentioning as well. So this game does have an in-game timer. We go off RTA primarily for this run because the IGT can actually count back. So for example, all the times that you die in game, if you say you're playing for 40 seconds, say you're at like 119 dead, and you die at 119.40, the game will start you back at 119 dead in game time when you go back to the save point, so that you can make time up. So that's why we don't go off IGT, we'd rather go off RTA, because otherwise it'll be like, okay, if we go off the IGT, then that's basically, it feels a bit like a segmented run in that regard. Yeah. The other thing is as well, and we have an in-game time of
119.
119.53, nice.
That's a PB by 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
GG.
I will just kind of mention as well, real quick, before I forget, that the main part of the game, so there is at the moment there is 2 endings. The developers said that there was 4, so we reckon that they may come with the update. We don't know yet. We'll have to find that out. But the 2 endings, we got the good ending. If you do save all GMOs, you get the good ending, which is you get in the rocket with the GMOs and you go. If you don't save any GMOs, or you save less than all 6, basically if you save 5 out of 6, the rocket goes and you stay behind. Essentially, you're left to your death with black liquid lurking beneath you. It doesn't show you get killed or anything like that. It just basically shows the rocket leaves you behind, takes whatever GMOs you have collected and sets off. In any percent, we don't save any of the GMOs, so it basically there's just an empty rocket that leaves, which is quite ironic. If you do want to play this game, like I said, it is available on PC, but you can pick it up on other consoles. We found out you can get it on PS4, Xbox, and so on. It's available on most modern consoles. There is the 2 main categories, which is the any percent and the save all GMOs. There is also a prologue category, which we've included now. Because if you go on Steam, you can get Genopanic Prologue, which is essentially it's a free demo of the game. It is what the demo is. It's the prologue of the game, as the title suggests. And that run is about 15 to 20 minutes. At push, maybe 25, depending on your skill level. But if you want an introduction into the game without without spending any money, then there is that Genopanic Prologue run that you can do. Like I said, it's just on the Genopanic Prologue, it's not on the Genopanic. For some reason, the demo is not classed as a demo. It's a bit of a weird one. Don't ask. But yeah, the developers over at Mobiray have done, I thought did an absolutely fantastic job. Mm-hmm. But like I said, they keep an eye on the community. The community is still very small, but there's been plenty of reviews about this game as and when people have made them. But like I said, overall, very fun game to play through casually. It's a speed run as well. The speed tech, there's nothing too spectacular. There is some main bits that we have shown off, that Linky has shown off tonight. But like I said, feel free to give this game a try. It's probably like a couple of bucks. You can get it on offer, usually every now and again, but would highly recommend paying the $10. Like, it's an indie developer. It's not. There's a small group of people have made it. It's not a AAA title. But in my opinion, the game is one of the most fun games I've had all year. Beats any AAA game I've played this year, I'll be honest. But beside the point, feel free to give this game a try. And join us at the Genopanic. I would say join us at the Genopanic speedrunning Discord, but the Genopanic Discord basically might as well be a speedrunning one. Because it's just like a general knit community. And like I said, if you've got any suggestions, the developers are always listening as well. I think that can kind of go. I know I've took your lines there, haven't I, Linky? Sorry.
Yeah, well,
he's too good at talking.
This was a great run. Thank you both so much. This was awesome, fun to see. We did just get $10 from Grace, animated elf that says E. That's all it says, E. But yeah, thank you both so much. We got to get back to intermission, but thank you again for this great run. We're going to take a quick pause. We're going to get set up for our next run, which I believe is Earthbound. So stay tuned for that. You don't want to miss that.